Well, g'day, Max here again. Welcome back to the shop. So this episode we'll just take a very slight detour off our lathe repairs because we've had a few stickers coming in the mail and I would rather present them separate. Plus I've got a couple of other little bits and bobs too. So what we've had come in the mail, Dean over at the Air Cave shop sent us in a couple of his channel stickers. He's got quite a good channel going on there, so it's worth going and checking out. So thanks a lot, Dean, for the stickers. Now Dean also sent a handful of other duplicate stickers that he must have had, so they're all going up on the board as well. So we also have one from Ray. Most of you all know Ray over at Ray's Garage. Ray Canigna, I think that's how you pronounce his surname. And Ray also sent in one of his cards, which has the Caniglia. I think that's it. Sorry, Ray. But yeah, Ray has a good channel, so well worth checking out. He's recently done a couple of videos on some pretty cool belt sanding machines. So now all the way from the UK, Adrian over at Aid's Workshop. Now Adrian's just done a pretty cool shed extension on his little home shop there, so he does some pretty interesting stuff. Quite switched on fella, so if you haven't already checked him out, he's well worth a look at. And another one came, Joseph Derner sent a letter as well, so thanks Joe. Raptor Machine and Tool Company, so he's got a couple of bridge ports there. I think one of them he's doing something about, one might be a CNC bridge port he's got going there, so Joe there is well worth having a look at, check him out. So we have one which you'll see in a sec, Kevin from Machine NZ. I've already stuck his sticker up on the board, so we'll take you there in a minute. Now, I was going through my scraptonium pile, which can be quite interesting, some of the stuff that ends up in there as I work in the earth moving industry. We found a few things, so what we've got here, this is a piece of really good quality steel with a carbide tip on it. So what these are, they're a tool. A whole series of these fit in a drum, and the drum rotates around to scratch away at the rock and all that. It's off a surface mining machine. So they have hundreds of these on a big drum and grinds away at the rock. So I figured, well, that's a good proposition to make a couple of revolving centres out of. So we just machine up a housing, Morse paper housing for the lathe. We'll fit a couple of bearings up, and we'll grind the carbide tip so it's running true on one of them, and I've got another one, and I'll just make it into a simple bell centre. So that's that. The other one, I've got a couple of these. I'm hoping to, hopefully if I can get one more. These are a bronze, quite heavy duty plate. So what I had a thought with these, if I was able to get 3 of them, so I've only got to find one more of these could be, I think, a good proposition to machine into a lapping plate. Now, why we need 3, you'd have to watch Tom Lipton's three plate method for lapping to get 3 even plates. Providing, and I think the bronze would be a suitable material for a lapping plate. Hopefully it's not going to wouldn't be too hard. So I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think we may get away with it. If you know or think it may not work, let us know in the comments. So we'll see how it goes. And my last bit of scraptonium. This is part of a track adjuster off an excavator. Now this stuff is all real high quality Caterpillar steel. So I had a couple of thoughts with this. If I machine it all off flat, machine some nice fancy curves in it down here. This will be a good comparator stand. We can adapt for a surface plate. And the other idea I had with it, remember the Emma Ritson's tool making competition? Well, I won that with Michitoyo comparator, optical comparator, the handheld one. So my thoughts with that were to mount that with a camera attached to it onto like a microscope stand or something similar to this. Then I could hook up to a computer screen and get a decent sized picture of what I was looking at. So that's the plan with that. So we'll detour now across, we'll have a look at the other lathe, which you guys haven't really seen much of. So I've got that in storage with the big mill, waiting as soon as we get the new shop up and running. And we'll go and see what's going on there. I did have to pull the covers off for a winter inspection, as I've had the covers off. I've had them all oiled up. And also had to measure up the lathe because I'm looking at a hydraulic copy turning attachment for it. Tracer along the similar, well, it's the same as Keith Fenner's. It's not the same, it's a different model. This is a Dean Smith and Grace one off an English lathe. So we'll have a quick look at that then. So take care, we'll see you at the lathe. We had a sticker turn up in the mail, come all the way from across the ditch, New Zealand. So that's Chris from Machine NZ. So we'll get him up on the board. Actually, Chris has just done a couple of not bad videos on DROs and some of the functions some of the things you can do with the DRO. So, his channel's quite worth checking out. So, yeah, Chris from Machine NZ. We'll get you up on the board, mate, with the others. Okay, here's all our new additions. We've got Dean, the Air Cave Shop, Joe at Raptor Machine and Tool Company, Adrian at Aid's Workshop over in England. We've got an ox tool, Jim Deadman, Plastic Hubs, Machine NZ, Bar Z, Ray at Ray's Garage, Joe at Sierra Specialty, Steve at Solid Rock, Dougie at Metalworks Machine Shop, and not much room left. We'll have to shift our book pile shortly. So, well, we're just in one of my sheds, just having a bit of an inspection on the lathe. And of course the mill, the big mill, as I've had them in storage over the winter period. And also I had to take some measurements on the cross slide, because I mentioned in a previous video was negotiating a hydraulic copy turning attachment. So I was taking some measurements to see if we can adapt it to fit, and it's looking probable. So the copy is a Dean Smith and Grace, so that's top quality British engineering there. So anyway, I'll give you a quick rundown because we haven't had one on this lathe yet. So as you can see, it's a JFMT. What these are, it's a direct copy of a Mazak, and alright, this is a Chinese lathe, but for the price I got it for and the condition, the ways are in very good condition. It has a lot of good features on it. I couldn't sort of pass it up. So what we've got, it's got a reasonable range of spindle speeds. So we've got from 25 up to 1500, and that'll cover everything that I do. It's got a good range of metric pitches, module, threads per inch, diametrical pitch, and the feeds in metric and imperial. So it's also got a carriage stop, so it's got kickouts here for the carriage, so they can be located in any position along this bar, and there's a lever here if you're doing multiple steps. So, well, while we're at this end, she has a 2-speed tailstock that makes winding big drills in a lot easier. It's a full metric lathe. Cross and longitudinal, and it has rapids, so the button is there for the rapids. So that's the motor end of the motor down there for the rapids. I think originally the button used to be in here. So it has a genuine multi-fix tool post on it. Gap bed lathe, 21 inch or 530mm swing, and it's 2 metres, 2000 between centres. So I've just had the covers off, I have had it oiled up just to make sure everything looks to be in order. So we'll swing around, take a look at the mill. Another couple of features that this lathe has, it's a taper turning attachment, and it also has an external oil filter for the headstock oil, so that should help keep the oil clean. Okay, well, this is Olga in all her glory, covered in muck, filth, needs a good clean, but that's all right. We'll get it when we get it up and running. We'll get her all cleaned up. So all the controls for this are on the front panel here, and also if you're working at the rear of the table, so you're working behind the table, there's another set of controls there. It's all electrically controlled. The table is in very good condition. That's the biggest divot in it there, and there's 2 smaller ones, one there and one there. So that's the only damage on the table. So the table traverse is by this crank on the front, and there's also a hand crank on the rear. So I'll set this up with my big dividing head. So we'll be running a gear train to do spiral milling as well. The taper, that's a 50 taper in there, and on the vertical head it's a 40 taper. So she has a reasonable range of speeds. Oh, sorry if it's a bit shaky. So the speeds for the ram, which is the vertical head, which has a 5 horsepower motor running it. They're going, it's a bit hard to read, 1600 and something, and we're down to 50 RPM. So that has a good range of speeds. The main spindle speeds run from 40 RPM, 31.5 up to 1600. So again, it's a good range of speeds. So the main spindle, she has a 15 horsepower motor running that, and there's a small electric motor because it has an electric drawbar. Now these mills have a bit of a weird arrangement as regard to the pull stud for the 50 taper. It's like a bayonet fitting, so, and they're hard to get hold of. So I may even convert it over just to a standard drawbar yet, but we'll see what happens. So this is a Stanco 6T83W. She's of Soviet manufacture, CCCP, and no, she weighs 4 tonne, just on the other side of 4 tonne, 4 1/4 tonne actually. And no, she's a beast, so we'll be happy to get her up and running. It also has a semi-automatic function. which is up under this cover here. So it's all controlled by these switches here. So I've yet to find out exactly how this works. I haven't bumped into anyone who knows how it works. So it has some set auto functions it can do. So the sooner we get these machines up and running, as soon as the new shop's built, you'll see them all in action. Olga here also has a DRO which I have off at the moment, so that's the connections for it. So that mounts up here on this bracket, so that can be swung. So if you're working down the left hand side, you can still see the DRO up there, so they can be swung anywhere around. And it's a Mitsui linear DRO, 3-axis DRO, and it's the size of a microwave oven compared to the new ones out nowadays. So yeah.